Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Protests against the new Citizenship Act have erupted across universities in the country, and in fact, they turned violent in Jamia in Delhi yesterday. Now, what are these protests about? What is the administration saying? What are the university authorities saying? That's what we're going to try and understand in Government Matters today. In the studio with me, I have Kritika Sharma, who covers education, and Ananya Bharadwaj, who tracks the Home Ministry. Well, Kritika, let me begin with you because we've seen protests across universities. Let's just talk about which of the colleges and universities have seen the most aggravated protests.
Yeah, so Jamia is one university which started these protests. When we talk about university campuses across India, of course, protests were happening in Assam anyway. But among the campuses, Jamia is one campus which started the protest about 3-4 days ago, the day the bill was passed in the parliament.
Right.
And after that, after it became violent on Sunday, a lot of other campuses joined in. Aligarh Muslim University, Tata Institute of Social Sciences in Bombay, IIT Bombay, IIT Madras, then Hyderabad Central University, Maulana Azad National University for Urdu, and another university in Lucknow. So all these campuses later on participated also to show solidarity towards students from Jamia.
Right. In fact, do log on to the print.in to read Kritika's story on which universities are witnessing these protests and what are these protests about. Ananya, moving on to you, because you track the Home Ministry, you also sort of have kept track of what the Delhi police does, and yesterday did not seem like a great day for the Delhi police as far as optics was concerned. What really happened in Jamia?
So Ruhi, the police clearly was not prepared for the kind of protest that happened yesterday in Jamia area. So which is why I think the kind of action that they had to resort in towards the end became something to talk about. Even at on the social media, everybody was talking about police brutality and the sort of reaction that they had towards protesters. So it started with a peaceful protest when Jamia Millia Islamia students were protesting. The police knew about the protest, and there was a deployment, and it was going on peacefully when, according to the police, a mob, like a group of people, came from Haji Colony side and started pelting stones at them. That is what the police are saying. Now, the police also said that a few of them were equipped with petrol bombs and petrol and set a fire first to bikes, and then they set a fire to buses. Now, what they are saying is that the students were not involved in that protest initially, but the campus is not physically demarcated very well. So some of the protesters who were throwing stones at the police, were pelting stones, rushed inside the university, and that is how they reached inside the university campus while chasing them. But Ruhi, as we have seen some videos wherein police are lobbing tear gas shells and lathi charging at students inside the university, is completely unacceptable, because some of them also went inside the library area where students were studying. Right. So the police defense is that the protesters got mixed up with the students and they did not know how to identify them, which is why they had to resort to that sort of an action.
But surely within a university you ought to be more cautious, and
absolutely,
you can't just resort to brutality.
You cannot,
like
first of all, you cannot enter a university campus without permission from the authorities.
And which the authorities have said the permission was not given.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that is why it became a complete havoc. Towards the end, meanwhile, also a group of people from Batla House Colony also approached, and they started pelting stones at the police. So it was a three-way protest. One group was from Haji Colony, one was from Batla House, one was of the students, because they also got enraged as the police had entered their campus and started, resorting to such action by lathi charging and lobbing tear gas shells. So the protest completely became a three-way thing, and the police didn't know what to do, and which is why they had to resort to such means, which obviously is not acceptable, but they were clearly not ready.
Right. Now, Kritika, how has the Jamia administration reacted? We know the Vice Chancellor has issued a statement. She in fact held a press conference. What are they saying?
So, obviously, Jamia administration was also very angry with the police. First of all, they entered the campus without permission. When you have to enter a university campus, you have to seek permission from the administration. Right. They entered without permission. Then they were chasing students inside the campus, inside the library. They entered there and they were beating students there, and also a lot of damage was caused to the property. So the Jamia VC is obviously, the administration is extremely enraged with the police.
And they're standing by the students.
They're standing by by the students. They're also saying that, you know, we will we'll approach the highest authorities, and they're also going to get in touch with the Ministry of HRD, which is the nodal ministry for central universities, to kind of get an solution to the issue to get. Yeah.
Now, Ananya, there were also students who were detained. Were they students who were detained? Were they outsiders who were detained? How many were detained? And now what has happened to them?
So initially there were also a lot of rumors, Ruhi, if I can point this out, that 3 students have died. So later in the night, police clarified that there was no police firing, and no casualty was reported. In fact, around 50 people were injured, which included both students and locals, and they were admitted at Holy Family Hospital.
Injured due to what?
Injured in the clash between the police and the protesters. Whatever the clash, stone pelting, tear gas, and a lot of dragging was happening. Yes. Right. So in the clash, around 50 people were injured, and around 50 of them were detained at 3 police stations. One was at Kalkaji police station, Jamia Nagar, and Kalindi Kunj. Some were also taken to New Friends Colony. In fact, it was only at 3 in the night last night that 35 of them were released. So right now the police are saying that nobody is detained in the police stations. They've released everybody. So that is the count of the number of students and locals detained at police stations. However, they have filed 2 FIRs in separate incidents. Last evening, an FIR of riot and arson was filed, but they have not obviously particularly named people in the FIR. It's against a larger mob. And what they're now saying is that the protest that came from Haji Colony was premeditated, because these people were armed with petrol. So it's a conspiracy. So they might file another FIR in that case. And they're also going to look at videos that were shot, that were doing the rounds on social media, to identify the people who actually set afire those bikes and those buses, to arrest them in relevant sections.
Home Ministry, under whom whose ambit law and order in Delhi falls, Delhi police falls under the Home Ministry, seems to have gone into some kind of hibernation mode as far as making statements is concerned. What is the thinking in the ministry? Is Home Minister Amit Shah planning to say anything at all?
Absolutely, Ruhi. Ministry of Home Affairs has not said anything. In fact, it was such a big law and order issue in Delhi. Buses were burnt. There was such heavy deployment in the area. There was, I won't say a curfew, but at least the area was cordoned off. But Ministry of Home Affairs have not even sought a report from the police. But what we have been hearing from officials within MHA is that they have been in constant touch with the police to have like a sort of a meeting to get an update on what the law and order situation is like. But a formal report has not been sought as of now. In fact, what we are now hearing is that police have told MHA that the people who actually started the entire ruckus were not the students, but people from outside. Like we said, that some people from Haji Colony and Batla House had come and started.
These are neighbouring areas, for those who are not familiar with Delhi.
Yeah, neighbouring areas of Jamia Nagar. So they are saying these are people, the people who actually started the ruckus were from outside, and some political parties were trying to incite violence and incite the students to go outside and protest.
This is what the
police are claiming. This is what they have orally told the Ministry of Home Affairs. However, no formal report has been sought as of now. We still don't know if there will be an action against the policemen. We have seen such videos of police brutalization and police dragging people out. In fact, lathi charging and lobbing tear gas shells. So there is no word from the Home Ministry to say initiate an inquiry against these policemen. So as of now, that is the situation.
Right. Now, Kritika, to me it seems that most of the protests which are on the street against the Citizenship Act have been led by students. Yeah. Even in Assam, it has been largely in the university campuses, university area. In fact, Assam, to tell our viewers, this entire movement in the 70s and 80s was led by student organizations. So it really, now it seems to have come back to that even for the rest of the country. Is there a worry, I know they're not saying anything on the record, but behind the scenes, is there a worry in the HRD ministry that this would spread, that this could become a bigger cause of concern?
Definitely, because immediately after the attack on students in Jamia last night, a large number of students came out in front of the police headquarters. They gave a protest call against the police actions, and you see today also Hyderabad Central University students have led a march, and so students are gathering. A momentum is gathering across the country. So definitely there is some kind of a worry as to this could become a bigger movement. I think to quell this, most of the universities have been sent on a break.
Right, right. So that's an interesting point. So are you
Yeah.
saying that, say winter vacations have been advanced?
Yeah, they have been advanced. Most universities go on a winter vacation from say 20th to 22nd December till January, but most of these universities, AMU is on a winter vacation from today. Jamia is on a winter vacation since 13th of December. So
Right.
the vacations have been advanced.
Right.
So, which is, I think, one way in which
Preventive
measure. So
Right.
definitely there is some kind of a worry that this would become a larger student movement.
Right. Same question to you, Ananya. Is the Home Ministry worried about these protests snowballing, or is the thinking that, look, law and order is anyway a state issue, let state governments handle wherever this happens?
I think that is the idea, Ruhi, because what we were told is that a word did go out to the UP DGP because there are protests happening in Lucknow as well, and clearly instructions to the Delhi police as well, but formally nothing has gone out, and the Home Ministry is right now, I think the Home Minister is in Jharkhand right now, so he is more concerned about the rally in Jharkhand, which is why he has not even given out a statement despite such deteriorating law and order situation in the capital. So as of now, no formal thing has gone out from the Home Ministry. Yes, of course, people are worried because the movement is gaining momentum, as Kritika rightly pointed out, but all the state police have been told to keep the law and order situation in control and be prepared for any contingency that may arise because of these protests.
Right. Well, the protests against the new and very controversial Citizenship Act seem to have moved out of Assam, or can I say beyond Assam, to other parts of the country, mostly led by students. We saw what happened in Jamia, and as Kritika and Ananya both have pointed out, it looks like it could get bigger. Thank you so much for watching Government Matters. Do keep track of us on both YouTube and our website for latest on what is happening as far as these protests are concerned.